There are moments when the world goes quiet. Not a peaceful quiet, but a terrifying, deafening silence that swallows every sound, every hope, every reason to take another breath. For David, a young man consumed by a silent, invisible battle, that silence had become his entire universe. He was a talented photographer with an artist's eye for beauty, but his own life had become a canvas painted in shades of despair. He saw no escape, no future, only an overwhelming emptiness that pushed him closer and closer to the edge. David had fought for years, battling an insidious mental health struggle that chipped away at his spirit, one piece at a time. He'd tried to reach out, but the words always caught in his throat. He felt like a burden, a shadow draining the light from those around him. The smiles he offered were masks, the laughter forced, hiding a profound pain he believed no one could understand, or would even care to. He felt utterly alone, isolated in his suffering, convinced that his absence would be a relief to the world, a silent erasure no one would truly mourn. He was at his breaking point, convinced that his final decision was the only one left. But what if, in that terrifying silence, on the very precipice of despair, a single, unassuming act can pierce through the darkness? What if a gesture so simple, so ordinary, so fleeting that it's barely remembered by the giver, holds the power to pull a life back from the brink, to reignite a lost spark, and to remind someone that they are undeniably seen and valued? This is the extraordinary, deeply personal story of David. It's a testament to the quiet desperation that can consume a soul, the profound impact of genuine human connection, and the astonishing journey of how one life, on the verge of ending, found its way back to light, all because of a single simple gesture that saved a life. Prepare to be profoundly moved, because this is a heartfelt chronicle about the unseen power of human compassion. David was an artist, a photographer whose lens captured the vibrant pulse of city life, the raw emotion in human faces, the quiet beauty in forgotten corners. His work was critically acclaimed, praised for its depth and humanity. Yet, ironically, his own life lacked the very light he so expertly captured. For years, David battled severe depression and anxiety. It wasn't a visible wound, no broken bones or obvious scars. It was an internal war, a constant, draining fight against a mind that often felt like his worst enemy. His depression manifested as a crushing fatigue, a profound lack of motivation, and a pervasive sense of hopelessness. His anxiety made simple tasks like buying groceries or answering the phone feel like insurmountable challenges. He'd cancel plans with friends, retreat from social gatherings, and eventually, even the joy he once found in photography began to dim. The camera, once an extension of his soul, felt like a heavy burden. He was a master of disguise. He'd perfected the art of the "I'm fine" smile, the quick deflection, the polite excuse. Friends saw him as quiet, perhaps a bit moody, but assumed it was just his artistic temperament. No one saw the nights spent staring at the ceiling, the overwhelming waves of sadness, the constant, gnawing feeling of worthlessness. He felt like a fraud, living a lie, convinced that if anyone truly knew the depth of his despair, they would turn away in disgust. The shame was a heavy cloak he wore, hiding the darkness he believed was contagious. He'd tried therapy, briefly, but the process of dredging up his pain felt too overwhelming, too exposing. Medications had side effects that made him feel even more disconnected. He gradually stopped both, retreating deeper into his isolation. His apartment, once a vibrant studio, became a dimly lit sanctuary, a place where he could hide from the world and from himself. Food became an afterthought, sleep a restless battle. His family, miles away, called occasionally, their conversations bright and hopeful. He'd put on his best "everything is great" voice, telling them about his latest photography project, avoiding any mention of his internal struggles. He loved them fiercely, but the thought of burdening them with his darkness, of tainting their happiness, was unbearable. So he suffered in silence, believing he was protecting them. But as the months turned into years, the darkness deepened. The voices in his head grew louder, more insistent, whispering promises of peace, of an end to the pain. He started planning meticulously, rationally, convinced that his decision was the only logical solution to his unending suffering. He felt a strange calm settling over him, the calm of absolute resolve. He believed he was making a brave choice, a final act of control in a life that felt utterly out of control. He was tired, so incredibly tired. He was at his breaking point, the last threads of hope fraying, about to snap. He was ready to fade away, unnoticed, unmissed. It was a cold, blustery Tuesday afternoon in late autumn. The sky was gray, mirroring David's internal landscape. He had chosen this day. He had meticulously planned his final act, a quiet, solitary departure from a life he felt no longer held any meaning for him. He wanted no fuss, no drama, just an end to the pain. He had gone for a walk, ostensibly to clear his head, but in reality, to solidify his resolve, to detach himself from the world one last time. He walked through the city park, a place usually bustling with life, but now largely deserted due to the biting wind. The trees were bare, their branches reaching like skeletal fingers towards the bleak sky. David found a quiet, secluded bench, overlooking a small, frozen pond. This was it. This was where he would say his final goodbye. He felt a profound sense of weary calm, the peace that comes with making an irreversible decision. As he sat there, lost in the quiet finality of his thoughts, a figure appeared at the edge of his vision. An elderly woman, her back slightly hunched, bundled in a thick, worn coat, was slowly approaching. She was holding a small, brightly colored knitted scarf. She seemed to be walking aimlessly, her gaze fixed on the ground. David felt a flicker of annoyance. He wanted to be alone. He wanted this moment to be unmarred by human presence. He tightened his grip on the small, heavy object in his pocket. The woman shuffled closer, her footsteps surprisingly light. As she passed his bench, her gaze, old and kind, unexpectedly met his. David instinctively looked away, pulling his hood further over his face, trying to remain invisible, trying to ward off any unwanted interaction. He didn't want pity. He didn't want conversation. He just wanted to be left alone. But then, she stopped, right beside his bench. And in that very instant, she did something so simple, so mundane, so utterly unexpected, that it pierced through the thick, suffocating layers of his despair. She didn't speak. She didn't offer advice. She didn't ask if he was okay. Instead, she slowly, gently extended her hand. In it, she held a single, vibrant red maple leaf. It was perfect, unblemished, glowing with an impossible warmth against the gray backdrop of the park. She held it out to him, her eyes soft, a small, gentle smile touching her lips. David stared at the leaf, at her hand, at her smile. For a fraction of a second, the world went completely silent, save for the thumping of his own heart. The overwhelming emptiness, the crushing despair, the voices in his head, they all faded. All he saw was that single, vibrant red leaf. All he felt was the quiet, undeniable warmth of her simple gesture. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated beauty, offered without expectation, without judgment. A silent acknowledgement of his presence. A single, small, but infinitely profound connection. He slowly, hesitantly reached out and took the leaf. His fingers brushed hers. Her smile deepened slightly, her eyes crinkled at the corners. She nodded, a quiet affirmation. Then, without another word, She turned and continued her slow walk, disappearing into the muted landscape of the park. She didn't look back. She simply walked away, leaving David alone on the bench, holding the red maple leaf. His entire world suddenly, irrevocably shifted. The heavy object in his pocket now felt impossibly cold, impossibly foreign. The silence was no longer deafening. It was filled with the echo of a single gentle smile and a single vibrant red leaf. David sat on that bench for a long time. The red maple leaf clutched in his hand. The urgency to carry out his plan had vanished, replaced by a profound sense of confusion and a fragile curiosity. Why had she done that? Why a leaf? Why had such a simple, fleeting gesture impacted him so deeply? It was illogical, absurd. Yet it had broken through. It had pierced the impenetrable walls he had built around himself. He returned to his apartment, the red leaf carefully placed in his pocket. The heavy despair hadn't magically disappeared, but it felt different, less suffocating. The silence in his apartment still lingered, but now he could almost hear a faint, distant melody beneath it. He pulled out his camera, something he hadn't touched in weeks, and meticulously photographed the leaf, capturing every vibrant detail. He was seeing color again. That night, he found himself drawn back to his old photography archives. He looked at his past work, at the faces he had captured, the emotions he had preserved. He saw the humanity, the connection he had once celebrated through his lens. He realized that the world wasn't just shades of gray. He had simply stopped looking for the colors. He had stopped looking for the light. The red maple leaf became his anchor. He carried it with him everywhere, a tangible reminder of that unexpected moment of connection, that simple gesture of kindness. He started taking small steps. He called his therapist again, his voice shaky, but resolute. He opened up about the true depth of his despair, the darkness he had hidden for so long. For the first time, he allowed himself to be truly vulnerable, to be seen. The journey was long, arduous, and filled with setbacks. There were days when the darkness threatened to swallow him whole again. But now, he had a new perspective, a new source of strength. He remembered the red leaf, the gentle smile, the silent message. You are seen. You are valued. He leaned on. His therapist, slowly opening up to his family and friends, allowing them to carry some of his burden. He learned that reaching out wasn't a weakness. It was an act of profound courage. He slowly rediscovered his passion for photography. But his focus shifted. Instead of capturing the dramatic or the grand, he started seeking out the subtle, the unseen acts of kindness in everyday life. The stranger holding a door, the quiet shared smile, the silent nod of encouragement. He found immense beauty in these fleeting moments, these tiny ripples of humanity that often went unnoticed in the urban rush. His photographs, infused with this new perspective, radiated a warmth, a profound empathy that deeply resonated with others. His work gained new recognition, not just for its technical brilliance, but for its profound humanity. His series, Unseen Gestures, became a powerful exhibition, reminding viewers to look closer, to see the quiet grace in their own daily lives. He spoke openly about his journey, about the darkness he had faced, and about the simple gesture that had pulled him back from the brink. His vulnerability became his strength, inspiring countless others battling similar struggles. He never found the elderly woman who gave him the leaf. She remained an anonymous angel, a quiet force of compassion whose single act had rippled outwards, transforming his life. He often returned to that park bench, looking for her, wanting to thank her. He never saw her again, but her message, etched in that simple red leaf, became the guiding principle of his life. David's life became a living testament to the power of connection and the profound impact of even the smallest acts of kindness. He dedicated his photography, and eventually his time, to raising awareness about mental health, to breaking the stigma of silence. He funded community initiatives that encourage simple acts of compassion, reminding people that you never know what battle someone else is fighting, and that a single smile can be a lifeline. He lived a life filled with purpose, driven by a quiet gratitude for the unseen hand that had guided him back to the light. He proved that the most extraordinary transformations often begin with the most ordinary moments, and that hope can emerge from the very precipice of despair. He learned that true strength isn't about enduring alone, but about allowing yourself to be seen, and about seeing others in return. This is the beautiful, undeniable truth of humanity. We are all interconnected. Our smallest actions, our most fleeting gestures, can have an immeasurable impact on another soul. A single smile, a moment of presence, a silent acknowledgement of another person's existence. These are the threads that weave the rich tapestry of our shared humanity, capable of pulling someone back from the edge, of rekindling a lost flame, of saving a life. So, the next time you encounter someone, anyone, remember David and the red maple leaf. Remember that the world is filled with unseen battles, with people yearning for connection. And sometimes, the only thing they need is a tiny flicker of light, a simple gesture of compassion, a single smile that reminds them they are not alone. Because that one smile, that one moment of shared humanity, has the unimaginable power to change everything. If David's powerful story of finding light and hope touched your heart, if it reminded you of the profound power of a single simple act of kindness, please take a moment to like this video. Your likes help us share these powerful true stories of human connection and resilience with more people who need to hear them. And if you're moved by true tales of the human spirit, unexpected connections, and life's beautiful transformations, be sure to subscribe to Heartfelt Chronicles. We bring you inspiring stories every week that remind us of the extraordinary good in the world. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss another journey with us. Have you ever witnessed or been the recipient of a simple gesture that changed everything for you or someone you know? Share your powerful experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Let's celebrate these everyday miracles that truly save lives. Thank you for watching. And remember, your smallest act of kindness might just be the one that saves a life. See you in the next video.